BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting this season. Everything from pro and college basketball to UFC, MMA, and more. What's up, y'all? It's your man Lloyd Spence, and you'll always find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. With live betting options, free contests, and live scores for almost any sport or game imaginable, BetOnline is truly the fastest and easiest way to bet all your favorite leagues and events. Now head to the website today and use your mobile device to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use your promo code BLEAV, B-L-E-A-V, to receive your rewards. That's betonline.ag. That's where the game starts. You tell them the Noisemaker sent you.
Popcorn World. Popcorn World. Yeah. Can I make you groove now? Yes, I can. So you can get this groove in a bag of a can. Put the make it round the world and it holds in your hand. Popcorn World. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. 250 flavors gonna make you smile. I said popcorn make you smile. Ah. Popcorn World. Popcorn World. Popcorn World.
You're now listening to BLEAV in the ACC with Heisman Trophy winner and Florida State legend, Mr. Charlie Ward, Wave 3 TV, and Fern Creek Hall of Famer, Kendrick Haskins, and Mr. Talking Noise himself, and of course, Mama Noise's man, Lloyd Spence. And now, it's time for BLEAV in the ACC.
We are back on, in my area anyway, a rainy Thursday morning.
Oh, it's storming here.
We can't catch a break, man. It's like we had 3 wonderful days of beautiful sunshine, 60-degree weather. And then now it's like 60, 71 and rain. Yeah. And it's going to get down to 30 tonight. So
yep, it was 75 yesterday.
You know what,
71 today.
You see what he just did? He turned around and opened up. See, that's just wrong, Charlie. That's just wrong.
Get him.
You know what, Charlie? You earned this one. Shame on you. Shame.
And that was a Charlie Ward humble flex.
You just gonna throw the sunshine in my face?
It's been so long.
I'm just trying to share some of the sunshine with you.
Oh, you shared it with you. Okay, then I apologize.
Don't apologize.
Y'all were giving me.
You just shared the sunshine with me. Let the sunshine in. Okay. All right.
Y'all giving me all the gloomy stories.
Oh man, gloomy is an understatement. It's a lot.
Hey,
but
it's severe weather here today.
I'm telling you, it's rough. It's rough. I think we're under a tornado watch or something. So
yeah, we have what my TV station likes to call an alert day.
An alert day. It's an alert day. There it is. There it is. But you know what? We're gonna have fun here on BLEAV in the ACC because there's a lot of wonderful things happening in the conference, and more specifically on the women's side. Man, there are some things that are happening on the women's side that are very, very interesting, and we're going to discuss that. But before we get to that, there is something going down this weekend that we must discuss. That is also trending, as today's theme is for our show, and that is the U of L men. The 2013 champions are going to raise their banner again, sort of.
They're raising a banner.
They're raising a banner. Kendrick, would you explain to the people what kind of thing U of L has found a way to work or work around in this situation?
It's a negotiation basically with the NCAA.
Okay.
I'll have to find the exact wording for
No
what
one's
the
calling about it right now.
banner's gonna call it, but what they're gonna put on the banner. But I mean, they were honoring the 2013 team regardless this Saturday when they play Clemson.
Okay.
Peyton Siva will be there. Luke Hancock will be there. Don't know if Russ Smith's gonna make it because he's playing over in Italy. I would imagine Montrezl Harrell will probably make it, and so yeah, they're going to hang a banner. I think they're going to put one up for the 2012 Final Four too, because that one came down too. People don't realize that one too, and so
That whole 2 years just got erased.
Yeah, like Men in Black.
Erased. Right.
So yeah, they negotiated with the NCAA, and they're going to put a version of a banner up at that celebration on Saturday at halftime.
If I understand it correctly, this banner doesn't say champions. It says number one ranked team or something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
Some weird verbiage like that.
Yeah, I'm looking for going through my text line trying to find the exact verbiage, but yeah.
Charlie, what do you think about this? They get their banner back, sort of. What are your thoughts? To me, it's ridiculous, but I'd love to hear your thoughts.
It doesn't make sense. I mean, I don't know why. I mean, if you're going to let them raise a banner, why not call it for what it is? I mean, when they got the new, I guess they were Google Pixel before Google Pixel. Started with the eraser.
Right.
Deal. But I just think it's crazy that they had to take it down. And I guess at the time it was a violation, but now it's not a violation. So I think anything that happened back then and it's not vulnerable today, I think they should just let it go.
Yeah.
Not to let it go, but bring it back. So, like Reggie Bush,
Give that man example.
Give that man his Heisman back, please.
It's just crazy. So, I mean, all the violations that you think of that were when a man was selling his jersey and they were selling stuff for, money, Ohio State, all these schools, that should be rescinded, in my opinion.
Yeah. Give SMU back their last 20 years.
Yeah.
I mean, they were just were they cheating or forward thinkers? What were they?
So the verbiage on this banner will be 2013 Final Coaches Poll #1.
So doesn't that mean you won the championship? Like, I don't understand. If you're number one, does that mean you won the whole thing? I don't know. It's just ridiculous. But
we're talking about the NCAA.
Such is the NCAA. So there you go.
They're gonna be there.
Gotta love them. You gotta love them.
Do you have to?
Well, you don't really. You just, but they're the only thing left. So you just kind of
you just deal with them.
You just love them by default, I guess. So let's get to some fun, positive stuff. I'm really excited about what's happening on the women's side right now. It's actually interesting, and I kind of want to zero in on 4 teams because when I started researching a little bit and thinking about trend, what we're going to talk about today, I started looking at the teams on the women's side, saying, there's 4 teams right now, and I know everybody's talking about, the ranked teams as far as who's the dominant, whatever you want to call that, as far as on that side. We're talking about Duke, we're talking about Notre Dame, Virginia Tech, Florida State, North Carolina. And some of that is part of the trending that we're going to talk about. But there's some interesting things going on even within those teams to the point where the play has gotten better, especially over the last like 4 or 5 games, to where it could get interesting. It could get interesting. I'm not saying they're going to go. Listen, after I watched South Carolina mollywop LSU, I don't think anybody's going to. I don't know if anybody can beat South Carolina. I'll say it that way. We had an interesting discussion prior to the show, so I don't know if I haven't seen a team that could win, but there are some teams that I think are trending in the right direction, and so I want to start with the number 9 team in the country, which is the Duke Blue Devils. They actually are playing some interesting ball, despite when they get the right ball, they're playing some interesting ball. When they're not playing with a men's ball, they're playing some interesting ball. They had a good win against Miami the other day. But the one thing that I started paying attention to was the fact that they are getting some production. Now, obviously, they go as Celeste Taylor goes for the most part. But
Who's that, number 30?
is she number 30? I think she is number 30. She's the lead scorer, 11 points a game. And she's their senior leadership. But the thing that really gets me interesting about them is that they're starting to get more consistent play from their sophomore Reagan Richardson, which is I guess her backcourt mate. She is over the last couple of games, she's averaging about 14 points a game. And so I'm curious because one thing that they do have is that they have a really, really solid defensive team. They play stellar defense, and Carol Lawson has them locked in a lockdown mode. They held Miami to 40 points. They held BC to 27. I'm not sure anybody scored over 57. Well, no, I take that back. Florida State, the Seminoles, back in January, hit them up with 70. But since then, over the last 4 games, they've been able to hold some teams down. So I'm curious to see where they're headed and where this, and if Reagan, because their offense is the problem, if you can call that a problem for a team that's 22-3. But they don't. They need more consistency from other people besides Celeste Taylor. And if they can get that from Reagan Richardson coming off contributing, then I think they could be interesting and maybe surprise some teams. But what do you guys think about Duke, the number 9 ranked team in the country?
Well, they have Virginia Tech tonight, so they'll get tested again. But I got a chance to see them play Florida State, and they didn't shoot it well.
They don't shoot it well, right.
And so that was very surprising. They missed a lot of easy shots.
Yeah.
I mean, like shots that you would consider easy for college students. But defensively, they weren't on par, as you mentioned. But when you can play defense and you know where your offense is coming, when your leading scorer most times is like 11 points, that's not good.
No.
I mean, you got to have, your leading scorer at least up to 16, 17 points, somewhere around there, if you're on a good team. And then you can get your other scoring from other players. But it'd be interesting to see how they finish out. I mean, the big girls inside, they didn't play well the time I saw them, but looked like they've, over the course of their season, they've been playing, solid basketball. So it'll be interesting to see how they finish out.
I mean, they're obviously built on defense. I mean, they only score 66 points a game. so
Right.
They're obviously built on defense. They're one of those teams you worry about that if they get down by 10, 12 points, can they come back, especially if it's in the second half? And so, I mean, defensively, they're all over you, but you do have to worry about them offensively. I mean, I'm just sitting here looking at their stats now. They only shoot 32% from 3. And so,
Well, I want to ask the coach this. They go deep into the bench. They go what 10 deep. I mean, I would say the legit 10 deep. Is that a good thing? Like, do you need?
Depends on your team. Just because you play 10 players doesn't mean all 10 are playing the same amount of minutes. I mean,
Well, they
you
literally
could
all average 25 minutes, with the exception of one player. That's what's throwing me off because I don't think I've ever seen that. Like they all average 20. Or I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Lord have mercy, forgive me. They average about 17, 18 minutes. That nobody like the one that's playing the most is Celeste Taylor. She's playing 28, but they all average right around that 17, 18. So I don't know. I'm just saying, is that
you're just trying to get the most out of your team. I mean, you got to know your team, and so
right.
if you don't have 7 or 8 players that you feel can be on the floor, a bunch of minutes, then you got to get the most out of what you have. And so, I mean, that's the case where you have 3 or 4 big girls, and they equally do something different.
Yeah.
To try to make up 2 people, and so I'm just using that as an example. If you start playing a lot of people,
I think that's a good example because they got Elizabeth Balogun, I guess that's their leading rebound. She averages
Balagoon. She used to play at U of L.
Okay, she averages 5 rebounds a game.
And she played at Georgia Tech.
Right. And then Reagan averages about 2 or 3, but combined they score 18 points. So it's like you're trying to find something that works combination wise. But they're listen, they won their last 4.
It's
and
amazing.
They found something.
It's amazing looking at their statistics. How's this team good?
I don't know how they're doing it, but it's
defense. I mean, it's defense. Obviously, you don't even have to watch a game. You can just look at their stats and say, "Oh, they're winning with defense."
You know what they remind you of? They remind you
score
of
average is just under 12 a game.
They remind you of, ironically, the 2012 Louisville team. Because I don't know how they were winning that year, and they took that defense all the way to the Final Four.
But even that team, though, you had scorers.
You did have scorers. It just wasn't sure when you were going to get it. It was just
because
Russ was still really sporadic at that point.
Right.
In this day and age, you got to be able to score the basketball. There's too much skill, out there. If you're going to get to the top, you got to be able to get stops for sure. But you got to be able to score the basketball at a high clip. But somebody come along and throw that into the mud. Some defensive team.
No, I agree 100%. You know what's interesting as we go on, you look at the same thing could be said about Notre Dame. Notre Dame 20-4, and they play Louisville tonight. A big game against Louisville tonight. That should be an interesting one. They're going to lean on Olivia Miles to kind of get points for them tonight. But the one person that's starting to step up as well on that team is 2 people that they're counting on is Kylie Watson and Maddie Westbell, I think is her last name. But it's interesting because they're leaning on they're kind of a youngish. Olivia Miles is a sophomore. She's not an older player. So they're leaning on her to kind of carry them, and they have been leaning on her all season, kind of carry her. She's averaging 14 and 7 and 7 assists. But I'm always interested in a team that skews young. They're kind of hit or miss right now. They're 3-2 over their last 5 games, but the 2 losses are against ranked opponents, Duke and North Carolina State. So what do you guys think about Notre Dame right now?
Well, Olivia Miles is a player.
Right.
I mean, she can just straight up hoop. And
she can hoop.
Yeah, I mean, she's not very big. She averages 15 and 7 a game and 7 assists. I mean, she leads Duke in just about every statistical category. And I say, and she's a point guard. I mean, the girl can play ball, and so
Yes.
as long as she's healthy and she's on the floor, you got to give Notre Dame a shot. And I say they play well. I think they've only got 2 losses, and it's going to be a tough game for Louisville tonight, going up to South Bend, especially given the history of that rivalry.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be a tough one tonight for Louisville. But yeah, Olivia Mouse, she's just a hooper.
The one thing that's interesting again with me for that one is Kylie Watson. And I had some stats for you, and my computer, is
Well,
not
how'd you turn
working.
into Bill Cosby all of a sudden?
I don't know. That was weird. Also, I won't lie to you. That got weird for a second. Let me see here. Maybe I can pull it up this way. As they say, I have a workaround here. Maybe. But while I'm pulling it up, what are your thoughts on Notre Dame, Charlie?
Well, I've liked the point guard since she stepped on campus. I mean, she walked in as a senior, high school senior, last year. Was like her first year, true freshman year. She walked in mid-season. So that was I saw her get a chance, got a chance to see her play, and so she was good then as a high school senior playing on the college level, and she's only gotten better, made that team much better. She is, of course, the engine. You're averaging 7 assists, so she gets them going. She has some shooters around her, if I can remember correctly when I saw them play, and so they sometimes they like to get up and down, which is a good thing. But you always need shooters. You feel like Notre Dame, that's what they they have to have in order to, or any team needs to have shooters in order to be successful. But if you got a point guard that can give them the basketball, get them easy shots, that makes life a lot easier for everybody.
I mean, she's driving 7 assists a game, and so
Yeah.
obviously she knows how to drive and kick when the defense collapses on her. So yeah, like Charlie says, you got a point guard like that, you're getting open shots for your teammate. I mean, Sonia Citron, I hope I'm saying the last name right, but she's shooting 44% from 3. Hey, come on.
Well, listen, the names that popped up for me was Kylie Watson and Maddie Westbell, but you're right. They got a lot around them to kind of make the engine work. It'll be interesting to see if they can keep it going. You definitely need a point guard in tournament play. I don't think you can advance unless you're like Houston in the men's side, like where they just run all forwards out there. But most teams need a point guard. You need good guard play. And so the one thing about her that is interesting is that she's a very, very strong, capable guard, and she understands the game. So it'll be interesting to see if she can keep it up. What I tell you, another team that is interesting to me as well, because for so long it's been the Elizabeth Kitley show, and for Virginia Tech. But now Georgia Amore is starting to kind of find her way, man. She's these last couple of games she's been kind of balling. She's averaging 14 for the season, but the last 2 games against ranked opponents she had 25 and 27. Does Elizabeth Kitley finally have the help that she needs? Because she averages a double, 18 and 10. But does she finally have the help that she needs to kind of make some noise in the ACC and beyond?
Well, they are finally a full team this year. It feels like they've got more contributors this year. I mean, you got 4 players in double figures on the 5th, averaging 9 a game, and so it looks like they're more a complete team this year. I mean, Elizabeth Kitley, I mean, she's shooting 56% from the field this year.
50%, that's amazing.
And so 3-point shooting seems to be a little bit of an issue for them. But other than that, I mean, they do feel like they're more complete team this
Trying to
year. It's
come together.
not everything's expected of her this year.
Right. I'm impressed by. I've always been impressed by Elizabeth Kitley. I mean, she's averaging a double double, so that how can you not be impressed by that? But
And their average, they actually lead the ACC. It's ACC in 3-point percentage. ACC's shooting as a conference isn't very good. So,
right, right, right.
I mean, the leading
That
team's at 35%.
that is relevant. Right. Do you like how you like in Virginia Tech, Charlie?
They seem to be solid, be a solid team. You know, when you look at their record and some of the teams that they've beaten over the course of the season, um, I don't know. Like it could be that hit or miss type deal, but they have been consistent though. You know, when you start looking at some of the games that they've won, um, and so it'll be interesting to see how they finish out. Just being consistent and doing the things that they do well, because they were highly ranked, you know, at one point, and trending in the right direction in that way, and then they started dropping some games, you know, here and there, and then they became, you know, kind of not middle of the pack, but just a team that was kind of hot and cold.
Yeah.
But it seems like they picked it back up here, and but they've been consistent in, you know, winning games, big games when they needed them, and competing in all of them, which is a good sign.
Well, like you said earlier, they got a huge one against Duke tonight. Some good uh, Thursday night college basketball in the ACC tonight. It's going to be some interesting games. We'll see some competitive games tonight.
Thursdays and Sundays have kind of become for the ladies this year, and there's been some good games on both Thursday and Sunday.
Yeah, man. And then of course we mentioned a minute ago uh, Louisville, and listen, we can't talk Louisville basketball at all without talking about uh, Charlie's favorite player in women's uh, basketball, at least in Louisville anyway, Mikasa Robinson, who is actually playing really, really well here lately. Uh, she's at her, even though she's for the season, she's averaging 3 assists. Her last 4 games have been assist impressive. 12 against Syracuse, 4 against UNC, 6 against Virginia, 9 against Clemson. This version of Mikasa is the version that I think we all thought we were going to get coming out of that run a couple of years ago. Like that, I'll do all the other things that everybody else is not doing, kind of thing, and be like the ideal complementary player. And now it looks like Olivia Cochran is maybe starting to kind of find her place again with rebounds. She's averaging 7 for the season, but she had a big night against Clemson with 12 rebounds. But Louisville is that enigma. Like they go as Haley Van Lith goes, but if Haley can truly get consistent help from these guys, they could be. We've seen them make a Final Four run. What are we talking about? We've seen them do it. So I don't know. What do you think about Louisville, Kendrick?
They started playing better once they inserted Mikasa as the starting point guard. Um, they've been wildly inconsistent though. Let's just be honest about it. I mean,
Absolutely.
they're 19-8. I can't remember them ever having 8 losses in a while. It's been a long time. Chrislyn Carr, she started the season great, and she still makes. I mean, she makes big shots for them, and she's shooting 47% from 3. But she's just been inconsistent as a playmaker, and that's when why they put Mikasa in there at the point guard. But just talking about Mikasa, I mean, Mikasa has literally played all 5 positions in her career at U of L. So the fact that she's in there and she's playing the point right now, and she's the team leader in assists per game. at 3.6. So that just shows you how integral she is to what they do. That she's only been the starting point guard for a few games now. She's already leading the team in assists. But they've got to get just more consistency inside. Inside has been a little bit of a issue for them. Olivia Cochran's playing well now, but it's been a struggle for her inside in some games just because she's undersized for a 5. But Nia Harris, she had a big game against Syracuse. She's been coming on a little bit, and so they're a team that's scary if you're other teams in the conference because they don't have their normal record, but they can jump up and beat you at any time.
Why do you think? You said Chrisman is struggling. Why do you think that is? Like, and I'll even juxtapose that to Charlie with this. When point guards or guards are struggling that way, how do you pull them back out of it? How do you get them back to what they have consistently done?
Well, I feel like I didn't really follow her that much when she was at Syracuse, but at Louisville, she's a great shooter. I mean, she is a knockdown shooter. But I do think she might be struggling with some of the plays. Maybe she's not grasping the playbook all the way. I don't know, but like she does struggle. She struggles with turnovers, and so that's been the issue. But like I said, if she can see the rim, she can knock it down, and so that's what she's really bringing to the team.
You have to find your way, especially if you're a transfer. And but I mean, Coach Walls is a guy who understands his team. He brought in a few transfers this year, and so sometimes it takes you longer to kind of figure out what they can do well. But you're always grateful to be able to have a Miss Robertson on your team because you know what she brings to the table. And, you know, for her, to me, she's kind of been a point guard. She's one that can get you an offense, get the ball to everyone else. And that's just her mindset. So I'm happy that they chose to give her the basketball and let her do what she does best, which is get everybody involved and run the team.
When you have smaller guards like Louisville has, what is the challenge going forward? Is it that you got to maybe play at a good pace and force so that you're always putting pressure on the other team, or is it more important to play that smart, run your offense, or how would you handle that, Charlie?
Man, like I said, I don't know their team, so their team makeup and what they do really well. I haven't really studied them that much, but when you have smaller guards, you definitely have to find ways to speed the game up, whether it's defensively, trying to press a little bit more or, pressure the basketball since you have smaller guards, trapping. Those things, kind of help speed the game up a little bit, which may play in your favor with smaller players. And then offensively, you have to get in some driving kick, or if you have good pick and roll players, trying to find gaps, or open gaps for those players to be able to drive and kick out of it. So, and use their speed and quickness to their advantage. But those are things that when you have smaller guards, you work to try to find, because you want them to have open shots as opposed to trying to shoot over people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the thing is they are small in the backcourt. I mean, Kristen Carr. Kristen Carr might be like 5'5".
Right, a generous 5'5".
Right, and so that's the other thing Mikasa brings is she's bigger and stronger.
Right. Well, listen, like I said earlier, it's going to be an interesting night tonight in the ACC. The ACC actually has I think they're featured. The Louisville Notre Dame game tonight is featured, I think, on ESPN.
Yeah.
And then the rest of the games, I guess, are regional or on the ACC network or some version of the ACC network. But should be a fun night. Syracuse and Florida State.
We need that win.
You need that win for sure.
We need all these last 4. We need to win all of them.
It's crazy that we're already, the season's just about over with.
I was gonna say, I think that could be said about a lot of these guys. Like Louisville, I think is in that same boat. They can't afford any losses right now, and anytime they can play a ranked opponent, they need to get that win because they got to stack something in quad 1 or 2, and make some noise here. But I think it's going to be interesting because the women's side, it appears they're going to send about 7 or 8 teams, man. Like I would think if things stay true and there's no like real collapses in the tournament. I mean, in the ACC tournament, they should send about 7 or 8 teams, and that's pretty good. It's probably better than what the men are going to do. So,
yeah, that's not a tall hurdle to cross.
At this point, right? All right. So that's what's going on in the ACC as far as the women's basketball, and it's like I said, it's always good. We try to cover both sides, give fair balance to both of those sides, but we'd like to talk about other stuff when other stuff is trending in the world. And one thing that is trending in the world today is that, you know what, at some point we got to stop calling it a comeback because you can't have this many comebacks. Like Tiger Woods can't have like 15 comebacks, but let's just say he's playing today. So,
it's a comeback.
It's a comeback, but it's like he's come back so many times. But I will be paying attention. But because it's always nice to see him back on the field, and then of course something that Charlie is familiar with. All-Star Weekend is this weekend. Charlie, did you go to a lot of All-Star Weekends? Did you go to any of them, or how did you handle All-Star Weekend most times?
I think we went to a couple because we did what we call Slam and Jam and Jubilee. It was like an outreach.
Oh yeah, okay.
Christian outreach, and so we partnered with some friends of ours, players, musicians, to have Christian outreach, because one year I was invited to be in the 3-point shootout contest, and it was in New York, and there were no parties or anything for us to go to because they were all, worldly. So Tanja and I decided, hey, let's put together a Christian event during the All-Star Weekend. And so we got together with some of our friends, and we decided to do that, Christian friends, and we decided to do that. Had like a concert. Also did like an all-star celebrity game. Did outreach in the community while we were there. And so that's what we did for a few years, just to give the Christians an opportunity to be able to come and be a part of All-Star Weekend without feeling like they had to go to, the other parties that weren't meeting those needs. And so, but now they have, they have a Christian breakfast. They have a whole deal now at All-Star Weekend. But we got a few opportunities to go to the All-Star game. But most times, if we weren't involved, outside of that, we were spending time with the family or staying at home.
How important is the rest?
Well, during that time, we only had we probably stopped playing either that Tuesday or Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
And All-Star Weekend started like that either Thursday or Friday,
Mm-hmm.
and the game Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I think it was,
Mhm.
and then we were back playing like that
Like-
next
like
Tuesday.
Tuesday, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't a big. It wasn't a
There
big.
wasn't a lot of rest. Yeah.
It wasn't like it is today, where it's 9 days, which is smart.
Yeah.
9 days off for you to be able to recover and do whatever you need to do. So that was. I'm glad they made those changes.
All right. Well, it should be an interesting weekend. I don't know how exciting. I used to get excited about All-Star Weekend. Now it's kind of like, okay. I get excited about the 3-point competition. You mentioned you being in it. Who was in your group, by the way? I'm curious.
Legler. No, who? I forgot.
Okay. I won't hold you to the. You got a lot on your mind, Charlie. You're going for back. So we're not gonna hold you to it. But this weekend they got the skills challenge. The Antetokounmpos are competing against Team Jazz and Team Rooks. The Antetokounmpo brothers, Alex, Giannis, and Thanasis. Is it Thanasis?
I think it's the Nassus.
Thanasis, okay.
I think.
Then the Jazz will show up with Jordan Walker Kessler, and Colin Sexton. And then the Rooks will show up with Paolo Banchero, who is right now the runaway for Rookie of the Year. Then Jay Ivey and, of course, Jabari Smith. And so they'll kick it all off on All-Star Weekend. Then,
So
of course,
All-Star Weekend is in Utah?
it's in Utah.
Yeah.
Which should slow down the partying considerably. I
mean, that's a
Trust me,
weird.
They'll find a way.
Party. They're gonna find a way. They'll find a way. But
It looks like
not
it
bad.
looks like Jeff Hornacek won it the year you were in it, Charlie.
Jeff
Hornacek.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Let's see. The 3-point contest will produce Tyrese Halliburton, Tyler Hero, Buddy Hield, Kevin Herter, Damian Lillard, Laurie Markkinen, Anthony Simons. Although I think he may be out, because I think I read something yesterday that he's not his best. So he's probably going to end up being replaced. And Jason Tatum makes up the 8th competitor. Who you guys like in that one?
Hold on, I'm still looking up Charlie's 3-point contest. So, so it was him, North Carolina coach Hubert Davis,
Okay.
Dale Ellis.
I got to hear this.
Hornacek won it. Sam Mack. I don't remember him. Reggie Miller, Tracy Murray, and Glenn Rice.
Reggie Miller didn't show well.
And our Charlie made it to the semifinals.
Okay, Charlie, what?
I beat Tracy Murray.
He remembered that.
I beat Tracy Murray. I like it.
I had some home cooking.
So, who you guys going with in this year's 3-point contest?
Oh, my old eyes can't see that.
Buddy Hield.
You got Tyrese Halliburton, Tyler Hero, Buddy Hield, Kevin Herter, Damian Lillard, Laurie Markkinen, Anthony Simons, although I think he's not going to participate, and then Jason Tatum.
I think I like Buddy Hield. Maybe Tyler Hero.
No.
But I think I'm leaning towards Buddy.
Herter or Buddy Hield? Herter has been shooting the ball well. Last time shoot it the other night, he was shooting it well.
I don't like Tatum's form for a 3-point contest.
I don't either. It is the key to the whole thing, Charlie.
Where's
guys who can catch the heat.
Can who?
Who can catch the heat? Who basically can get hot and who have good a decent enough form where they can catch a rhythm.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be able to shoot too, which most of these guys, can. But it's about consistency as well because you have multiple rounds, and you got to be consistently being able to, put the ball in the basket for multiple rounds. It just can't be one round you're like super good, and then the next round, you're kind of hit or miss. So you need to find a rhythm. But even when you find a rhythm, it's not like you get shocked like in between.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta go sit on the bench, and then you gotta come back out and shoot again. So someone who has a consistent rhythm, just with their form and of course the mindset you gotta have is each shot has to be you know within itself. Meaning, if you miss one, you can't think about the miss. You just got to keep moving. Try to make as many as you can. But the pressure is real. Um, meaning you see the clock moving, and you look at where you are at that time, and you have to try to make those adjustments as well from a mentality standpoint of looking at the clock and trying to get through all the racks.
Wow. So you going with Herter? You said Buddy Hield. I'm torn between Damian Lillard and Tyler Hero. Because Damian can hit the 4-pointer, the new 4-pointer they got.
True.
So
I
he
didn't
might
think about that.
just sell out to those and
Well, they all can.
they all can, but I
Yeah, Dame shoots them there every game.
Dame shoots him there like in real time. So he'll feel the most comfortable. As far as the slam dunk contest, I don't know. Who knows? A lot of people are saying Matt McClung is going to win
I
this
was gonna
thing.
say Matt. I was gonna go with Matt McClung.
Yeah, they keep saying because he's got so much he wants to prove, and they say he's a pretty solid dunker. So
He is. I remember him in high school and his brief time at Georgetown. Yeah, he can get up. He's super athletic. He hangs in the air and does all kind of wild stuff.
Who else is in it?
Trey Murphy III, Jericho Sims, and Kenyon Martin Jr.
How old does that make you feel?
It real old. I won't lie to you, real old because we all saw Kenyon Martin's entire career. So
Right.
we're living through entire careers now and then seeing their offspring. So
Right. That's wild.
that's a wild thing. So, and you know what? It's funny because you say, "Oh man, this doesn't look like it's going to be very good," and then you get Zach LaVine, Aaron Gordon situation. So I don't know what this is going to be, other than I'll be probably watching, and we'll hope for the best.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm going with my New York Knickerbocker.
Jericho Sims.
And is he a high flyer, Charlie?
Yeah.
Yes,
I remember him at Texas. Yeah.
Okay.
he's a high flyer.
He used
All
to wear
right.
them little.
Tall.
He used to wear them little bitty John Stockton shorts when he's at Texas. Like they're not as short anymore with the Knicks.
All right. Well, it should be interesting. All-Star Weekend is always interesting. And then, of course, they're doing a new thing this year where they're picking the teams Friday, I think. I think they're picking them Friday or Saturday. Like, they're not picking it early, or
I
as
think they're
early as
picking
they
them.
have in the past.
I think they're picking them live before the game.
Maybe, like I said, it may even be Sunday. It's not
they're
early at all.
They're picking them like they do like a pickup game.
Like a pickup game. So this ought to be interesting. They're always trying to find ways to tweak the whole thing. So, although I don't think it's been that bad the last couple of years. I think it's actually been pretty good.
The games have been great.
Yeah, the games have been good. So I don't know why they keep tweaking it. I feel like they had it, but
once they put that rule in there, what's the name of the rule with the points when they get to the final to end the game? The Elon rule. Once they put that in, it got more exciting.
Yeah. So, they'll brave the air in Utah and try to make make this an exciting and fun evening, to say the least.
Can Salt Lake handle that many?
Well, listen, it's definitely going to be a conversion unlike anything they've ever seen.
They've had it. They've had there before.
They've had that before. They've had that once before. Not sure how it went, but if this will be interesting.
If it's a different climate back then.
There's mischief. There's mischief everywhere.
Listen, if ever
the mischief is not what I'm worried about.
if ever the sore thumb thought process was a reality, it'll be this All-Star weekend. They've probably never seen that many women converge in one spot ever. So let's get to before we get ourselves into trouble. Let's get into the shout outs. Who we shout out to this weekend, gentlemen?
I got a shout out to our daughter Hope. She just getting started at her school on KTCU. As one of the, I guess she's one of the DJs. She's learning, nice. So she's getting started there. I think she was on the radio yesterday. So she's on every Wednesday from 2 to 4 Central Time. So
is music based or sports?
Yes, I think it's music based.
Okay.
But she's still learning. It's her first day yesterday, so I'm happy for her.
What's her DJ name?
Hope.
I was gonna say, Hope is a pretty solid DJ name. Like
DJ Hope Ski, like Hope in the 80s.
Hopey.
Oh, that's a solid DJ name. I like it. All right, Mr. Haskins, who you shouting out this week?
I'll give a shout out to the 2013 national championship team. Them on having a party before the game, in which the mayor is supposed to hand them a proclamation. I'm not 100% sure what that proclamation is, and being as the mayor has been the mayor for like 20 minutes, but right. A proclamation at a party beforehand, which I'll be there for that. I'll be there live for that, and you can go ahead and hit me with the humble flex as I was invited to it.
Oh, you were invited to it. Yeah. See, you were covering it, it'd be different, but you're right.
And that was a humble flex.
Yeah, I'm covered. I am covered. I'm exclusively covering it.
Yeah, well,
it's a flex.
Yeah, I understand. All right. And then I guess as far as I'm concerned, I want to give a shout out to Rihanna. Man, yes. To stand on the stage. First of all, took some unnecessary risk. Didn't need you to stand 100 feet in the air to perform. But I get it because you were trying to offset the whole I'm pregnant thing. So I get it. But shout out to you for a great performance in the Super Bowl. I didn't know what to expect, and it was better than I expected. So I appreciate it.
I was entertained. Did you see the angle of the one dancer that did almost fall off of it?
There was a dancer that almost took a spill.
And then they showed a tight shot of her at one point when you could see the thing. There's no way in the world I'd be up there.
I'll be honest with you. This was the most uncomfortable I've ever been watching a Super Bowl performance. You just didn't know, man. You were like, I don't know who chose this, but this wasn't,
It's dangerous.
This was wildly dangerous, but, I get it. She was trying to, offset the whole.
And then she's what, 6 months pregnant?
Yeah.
Looked like she's further along than that, to be honest.
Yeah.
But shout out to her.
Shout out to her, man.
It was a great performance.
That was an impressive game. I think I enjoyed it tremendously. I hated to see them in the game on a play so controversial. Although it really wasn't that controversial because he did hold. But
I mean, blatantly held him. I was
Right.
I was at a party where I was the only person really cheering for the Chiefs, and so of course everybody was mad at me. I'm like, I didn't have anything to do with it. It's a hold. He grabbed him twice.
Listen, if you know anything about the Eagles, if you know anything about the Eagles fan base, that's what you get. That's who they are.
But these weren't even Eagles fans. They was just not. They was just cheering for the Eagles in the Super Bowl. They weren't even Eagles fans.
They weren't even Eagles fans. Okay, it was the spirit of the Eagles. I don't know. Did you enjoy the Super Bowl, Charlie?
I did. It was a good game. That's what we wanted. But it didn't seem like a good game. I mean, I don't know. Maybe because I wasn't rooting for anyone in particular.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I can say, yeah.
It seemed. I mean, it was a good game, of course, but it just didn't seem like it had the excitement.
Yeah.
That a game normally has.
Well, because Philadelphia was going on these 10-minute drives, they
were just holding the ball the whole first half.
Philadelphia used the Princeton offense of football. Just go pass the ball 20 times and see what happens. So I don't know. But you're right, Charlie. That's a great observation.
Jalen Hurts was amazing in that game.
Outstanding.
As much as I love Patrick Mahomes and he deserved the MVP, I wouldn't have been upset if they gave Jalen Hurts the MVP, even though they lost.
Listen, and shout out to Charlie Ward for setting the path for him to do just what he did.
Yeah, and shout out to Charlie Ward for being a part of my story that I did on this.
That's right. Yeah, I brought that around, Charlie. See, I did that.
Yeah. You know how I got it. Doug Williams, that may be a better.
Doug Williams is in there too.
You are a pioneer, Charlie.
Doug is in there too. Doug gets to be in there.
See, Charlie did the same thing when I interviewed him. When I told him he was a pioneer, and he tried to deflect. You are a pioneer, Charlie.
Whether you whether you accept that or not, you are a pioneer to what we witnessed this past week.
You're going to accept these flowers, Charlie.
That's right. It's better than a humble flex.
No matter what.
That's right. We're parking flowers at your front door. Take it. All right. All right. And we wish you all the success today, Charlie, as you go. And I guess technically you've already started your quest for the back-to-back, but this gets serious today because you're moving down to the next level. So we'll be praying for you and your team today, brother.
Yeah, we're rooting for you from a distance.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, with that being said, Charlie's got to go get ready. He's got to get in coach mindset. And we got other stuff to do. So y'all enjoy your weekend. And we will see you next week on Believe in the ACC. You've been listening to Believe in the ACC with Charlie Ward, Lloyd Spence, and Kendrick Haskins. Please like, follow, subscribe, and share from the Noisemakers page on Facebook and on YouTube. And you can also listen to us on Spotify, Apple Music, iTunes, and wherever podcasts can be heard. And join us